Hi guys, thanks for tuning in. It's Matt Muscat, Marketing Director at Treadstone Funding, owner of Maltese Marketing, coming to you today with our next installment of Marketing in Other Markets. Really excited to have Erica Tudela on Zoom with us, not on the line. That's more of a radio thing. She is in the greater Seattle area in representing Kitsap County. She's a realtor who helps people with all of their home buying, selling, investing needs. She's also an awesome new mom. You have a 2 or 3-year-old?
He is 1.5.
One and a half.
Going on to 2. Yeah, so he's still pretty little.
Very, very little. I mean, mine are so little, but that was my favorite age. That was definitely the most fun. Don't tell my 3-year-old I said that though.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to chat with you today because we talked a couple weeks ago after we were connected by a mutual friend and client of yours. And I was really impressed with not only the numbers that you told me that you're doing, but also your story and how you not only stayed on track after, the huge life-changing event of starting a family, which I think a lot of us out there have done or are hoping to do. So I wanted to get some of your advice for everybody who might be watching today. So tell us, how did you get started in real estate, and where are you now?
Yeah, and thank you for having me on here. I'm really happy that our mutual friend connected us. This is going to be a lot of fun. So a little bit about me and how I got started. I actually grew up in a real estate family, and I don't know if we talked about that when we first met, but my grandfather was actually a realtor way back in the day, and he owned an office in my hometown. And he ran that with my grandmother, and my uncle sold real estate, my mom sold real estate, and my dad was actually a builder. So just growing up, I was running around the real estate offices, and I was always on job sites with my dad, my mom. So I really grew up in the real estate world, and I didn't know really what I wanted to do when I was, growing up. And I never thought real estate was going to be my path. It was everything my family did was around real estate. So I kind of thought, I'm going to be doing something else. And just one day I just got hooked on to real estate, and then I just never looked back. So just real estate is kind of in my blood. I've been around it my entire life. And I got started in the business in 2014, and I was 24 when I got my license.
That's awesome. And so obviously getting started, it can be tough, but you continue to grow your business, and you kind of got to that place where everyone wants to get, the 5-year, $100,000, $5 or so million in production level that we think, any realtor who really, really hustles, works their sphere of influence, works with great referrals, and does a great job should be able to get to after a 5-year period. You did it. And then I remember when we were talking, you talked about you got there, and then all of a sudden you started a family. And it's the greatest thing ever, but it changes the amount of time that you have, and it changes how you're able to approach real estate. So kind of talk to us about what that was like and what it led to, because I know afterwards the way that you went and improved and started a new path really led to something that now other people can take advantage of also.
Absolutely. So I got into a really good place. Actually, about my 3rd year in real estate was when I was at that kind of $100,000 mark, which I really loved. And I thought, wow, there really is no cap in this business. And it grew so fast, but I was 100% dedicated to it. It was the only, I lived and breathed and sweat real estate. I was all in 100%. So my mindset and my focus was really there. And when I had my son, I was, about 4 years in was when I got pregnant, and, we were planning on starting a family. So we got pregnant, and I was even doing deals up until going into labor. I actually got a deal signed around in the hospital. And I remember my husband giving me the side eye, like, you just had a baby, put your laptop down. And I'm like, real estate doesn't sleep. I got to get this signed around real quick.
Friends, I promise.
Yeah. I love it. I really enjoy everything real estate. But once I had my son, it was really a game changer for me. And I started to slowly lose this businesswoman that I had spent so much time and energy creating. And I really loved this person that I was becoming. And then I had my son, and I love my son so much. I'm so glad I'm a mother, but I started to lose that person that I was becoming. And that kind of took me into a dark place, and wasn't doing as much business as I normally was. I wasn't on top of things like I used to be. I didn't have the energy anymore. It was just a really difficult time. And so then it kind of led into creating this thing that I now sell to other realtors to help them run their business, which is my planner. I call it the Brainy Broker Planner. And just because I was in this kind of dark phase in life, I thought, okay, I need something to pull me out of this kind of depression, you could call it. And I just needed to organize my life. I thought if I could just organize and like know that what I'm doing is actually going to be effective and worth my time, because now I have such little time. So I really needed a resource, or a tool, I should say, to help me just get back on track.
I absolutely love that. And that's the reason I wanted to chat with you today. I mean, the entire book that I wrote, the Tangible Action Guide on marketing tips and how to grow your business, the first 2 chapters are time blocking and accountability. Because so many people, especially realtors, lenders, people in our industry, have the ideas and they have the drive to do great things, but it's sticking to the schedule and doing them methodically. That's where most people fail. So when I saw your planner and you kind of walk me through what it has you do every day and how to fill it out, it's exactly what everybody needs. And whether they know it or not. A lot of us like say that we're organized. You know, we use our calendars, or we use some sticky notes, or we have a CRM system that has a to-do list. But your planner breaks it down in such an easy way. So you made it. It's available. How did you use it, and how did it help your business grow? Because I think everything, like, before someone else can get interested, they have to know that it worked for you, right?
Right. Oh, totally. Well, I started using it, and it's changed a lot since I first designed it. So for Q4 of 2019 was the first time I actually printed it, and like it was like an actual physical book at that point. And I created it for myself. I had zero intention on selling a planner. I mean, that just it still seems so wild to me that I am selling planners, but I needed something for me. And I thought, okay, I need a planner, because every planner I had ever used, I'd use it for maybe a few months, but there was no room for any note taking, or, we do so much as a real estate agent, and I needed a full page or 2-page spread to write out everything in my entire day, your appointments, your things that you need to get done, your top priorities, what I wanted to post on social media that day. Writing down daily gratitude, just taking notes when I talk to a buyer or a seller client. Like you write so much stuff down. And I was getting so unorganized after I had my son, again, with just the lack of time. And, there was just no time to really take all these notes and then go and organize them later. It was like, I just needed a one-time thing. I couldn't write it down and then go put it somewhere else. And then I would just end up taking notes on like scratch paper, and then I'd lose that scratch paper, or I needed a better system. Yeah. So it's changed a lot since Q4. And I actually had it for myself, and I brought it into my office with me one day that I was able to get out of the house. And it was actually my broker's assistant she looked at me and she goes, "What is that?" And I said, "Oh, this is my planner. I made it." And she goes, "You what? You made a planner?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I made a planner. It's just, it's just this thing, like, every day as a page." And she's like, "Let me see this." So I gave it to her, and she goes, "Oh my God, how much do you want? I need a copy of this." And I'm like, "What? Seriously?" So that was kind of my turning point with, oh, other people might also need something like this. You don't need to be in a dark, depressed state and losing yourself. Everybody might need something like this. We've all just kind of been staying afloat and not having a tool to really guide us through the day. So
I think the timing on this is perfect, because I think a lot of, every state's different out there, and I'm sure people will be watching this from all over, but, especially during COVID, we weren't going into the office and getting that typical like rah-rah from a lot of our coworkers that kept us motivated. And, we everyone couldn't be out showing houses all the time. And again, every market's a little bit different for where things are now. But I think a lot of us woke up in the morning thinking, okay, I'm going to work today. And you walk 5 feet over to your office and load up your computer. And then it's like, okay, what do I do? And having a planner where you can kind of put all the things that will lead to more deals, and planning those out ahead of time. is really going to give you that advantage of making your work from home schedule a little bit more thought out and a little bit more, it'll give it some meaning. So I
Yeah.
love the planner. I think it really fills a big need in the market.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, and for me, I do find that I'm my most productive when I write out my day the night before. So it's usually when I'm laying in bed, kind of relaxed. You got the baby down, he's sleeping, we're just kind of winding down. We go to bed, and then I bust out my planner. Let's say it's a Tuesday night. Then I flip to Wednesday and I start writing out my action. I call it an action checklist. So that's all of like the little things that just need to get done throughout the day. And then if I have some top priorities, I'm going to write that at the very top under my priorities list. There's only room for 3 priorities because, you can't make everything a priority through the day. But if there's like, let's say a buyer had texted me or contacted me and they said, hey, I want you to call me tomorrow, then that's a priority for me. So I'm going to write in there, call so-and-so at 3 p.m. Like that has to get done. It's a non-negotiable. That's in my priority. And then some other things in the action checklist could be like, oh, stop by my listing and just check on it. Make sure that, the painters are on track. Just kind of all the other kind of onesie twosie things that need to happen throughout the day. That goes in just your action checklist. And I have 2 columns in my action checklist, and I do a personal and a professional side. Usually, like, I need to go grocery shopping. I'm going to write down that we need rice and ribs and soy sauce. And, I'm going to be writing these things down. So I remind myself, oh, I need to go grocery shopping. Here's a few things I need. So it's not always business. I'm writing down personal things in here as well, just to keep my life on track, not just my business.
Absolutely. That's huge.
Yeah.
So, the questions we ask to everybody, if someone has a buyer or a seller that needs to buy a house in your area in Washington, how should they get a hold of you?
Well, you should call me or email me. Those, of course, are the best options. A lot of people reach out through Facebook as well.
Okay. What is your email address?
My email address is
for the people that watch the video.
Oh, perfect. So it's Erica, ERICA at infinity, INFINITYREWA.com is my email address.
Awesome. And then for people that want to get that little extra, nudge in the right direction organizationally, how could someone buy or pre-order the Brainy Broker Planner? I know I went to buy it and it was all sold out because you've had a huge amount of success recently, and I'm super excited for you. But so I pre-ordered mine. How would I go about pre-order, or how would someone out there go about pre-ordering a copy of this?
So right now, the best way to do a pre-order for the Q4 planner is just going to be to send me your email address. So I have a separate email for my Brainy Broker versus real estate services. Yeah. So if we want, we can put a little tag up here with the other email, but it's info@brainybrokerplanner.com.
Cool. So everyone out there, make sure to email Erica and pre-order your Brainy Broker Planner today.
Thank you. So tell me, you just released your book. I want to hear more about that. And I actually did order mine. I got mine through Amazon, and I'm really excited to dive in, but I want to hear more about what it is before I jump in.
Absolutely. So that's a great question. Try it before you buy it. Or I guess you bought it. Try it
I already bought it.
Well, I think the biggest investment rate is time, right? So I think as real estate professionals, we can do really well, but time is the one thing that I think we all struggle with. And again, that's why your planner exists. But for me, I would go to all of these marketing conferences and I would sit through all these webinars and I'd do all the normal marketing things you should do. And so many of them focus on the motivational side of real estate. And like, you can do it. And if you just try harder and set goals and make a vision board, you can achieve your wildest dreams. And for me personally, like, that's not motivating. Like, it's one thing. I want to know how. Like, tell me what to post right now. And I mean, there are some really great manuals out there on like specific Instagram posts. I know Chelsea Pites' book is great. And there's some other really specific ones, but I wanted to put out a book that had very simple and easy to follow advice on things you could do to generate leads in real estate and mortgages today. And because when I go to a conference or when I sit through marketing, I don't always end up with like a bullet point of like, do this tomorrow and get a lead. And that's really what I need. And I'm not marketing for the person who's just going to go on Zillow and spend $5,000 to buy 100 leads, 4 of which will ever close. That's not the brand of marketing that I'm going to give advice on. So for people who bought my book already or who are thinking about it, it's not going to be a ton of paid advertising and paid marketing. I think that stuff has a place, and I think some teams do really well with it, but it's not my focus. I'm really here to help agents and lenders who go by referral-based business, who want to market in their areas, who have a niche, who have some groups that they can really reach out to. So
Absolutely.
every chapter is 2 to 3 pages long, and I did that because that's my attention span, right? Like, if a client calls you, right, says like, hey, like, do you want to come over to do a listing appointment? I'm thinking about selling my $500,000 property. You're going to drop what you're doing and reading my book, and you're going to go do it. So I wanted to write chapters that were short enough so that people could get the information and then make an immediate decision. Am I going to do this tomorrow? Yes or no? And then they could add it to their Brainy Broker Planner if they have your book.
Yes.
So that's the style and the information in the book. Like, I'm not some kind of real estate marketing genius or anything like that. It's my job to meet with lenders and realtors, to coach them and train them and learn from them on what's working for them in their businesses. So I've been doing 20 to 30 of these meetings, you included, every week for the past, 10 years. And so everything in my book is just a compilation of ideas that other people gave me with a couple of mine. And the overall idea is we're all very different people. And I think that's the best part about, like, a consumer can choose a realtor or a lender that they want to work with. And they're going to choose us because in some way, shape, or form, we're different than the last guy, and we offer some piece of different value. And so, this book has one chapter on proving your value and figuring out what that value is. But I think it's really important to be able to, like, describe that value and market yourself in a slightly different way. So I tried to give lots and lots of different tips in this book for people that want to maybe do farming. There's marketing tips for them, but there's also tips for people that know they can use Instagram and social media to do things well.
Right.
So I think there's a little bit of something. Organically, yes, absolutely. And, like, like not just what to post, but where to post it, when to share it, who to ask to share it. What if you don't have a social media following? What other tips can you do? Okay, well, let's talk about your sphere of influence. Whether it's on a Rolodex, LinkedIn, an Excel file, you have something. And then there's also tips for, hey, maybe you're an agent who just moved to a new city and you don't know anyone. What can you do? So we tried to put tips in there for agents at different areas in the life cycle. There's people that are doing $30 million that already have an established book of business and 500 past clients. Marketing looks very differently for them as it does for someone new that doesn't have a database yet. So I think there's a little bit of something for everybody, and it was a big piece for me to make sure that we could include marketing that could be adapted to each agent or lender's individual styles wherever they are in the country.
Yeah, I love that. And I've actually been really focusing on, in the beginning of the year, focusing on just growing my Instagram account. And I remember posting to my Facebook page, I had 666 followers. So I took a screenshot and I posted it and I go, oh my God, somebody go follow me. I don't want to be stuck on 666 followers. And instantly and then I was like at 700 all of a sudden. And then today I'm at just over 900. So now I'm like, oh, I really want to get to 1,000 followers. So you can go follow me on Instagram.
Well, what is
but
your Instagram name?
My realtor page Instagram is Erica_Kitsap Realtor. And if we want, we can also add that somewhere down here. So yes, go follow. I'm trying to get to 1,000. But just reaching people organically has been fantastic. And I've actually closed several deals from Instagram, and I don't have to pay a referral fee to other agents or, a lead generation company to work with these people. I've connected with them because they like what I'm putting out there. And the other part of that, though, is I'm not just putting out a graphic of some clip art house saying, who wants to buy a house? That's not the type of content I'm putting out. I'm doing branding photo shoots of me at a nice home, and I'm posting those pictures of myself. So you're not just seeing the same picture of my business card over and over and over. You're seeing me in tons of different scenarios, right? So it's even more personalized.
I think that's what social media is all about. I think people want to see scenarios of what their life could be if they work with you, what their life could be if they bought that home. They want to see, oh, hey, Erica just had a client who was paying $1,500 a month in rent, and now through buying a house and getting a mortgage, she's at $1,300 a month, spending less money and, you know, with more property. You know,
Yeah, and they own and they're building equity. And guess what? In 2 years, they're going to sell and they might make a nice chunk of change.
It's all about telling.
Yeah.
It's all about telling that story in an exciting way. So I absolutely love that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I actually I was really excited. I woke up one morning to a message request from a gal over in California, and they want to move over to Washington sometime this year, probably later in the year. And she said their budget's up to like 1.2 million. And I'm like, oh, hello. So you just never know who you're going to meet. And it just goes to show that organic, you know, putting in that time. And I started doing these better content posts over a year ago. And I'm now getting people who are saying, hey, I've been watching you on social media. I want to work with you when I move to Washington. You know, so you just got to keep doing it. Even if you're not getting a ton of people reaching out right away, you got to stick with it. And you're going to start to see those results kind of funnel in down the line.
Stick with it, make a plan. I think my biggest piece of advice in the book talks about it is, you know, even if you're not into social media and it's not something that you do much more for checking out kids' photos and nieces and nephews' photos, if you simply make a plan for the amount of posts you want to do, the types of posts you want to do, and where you're going to post them, you can stick to it. And you can make social media work. You know, to make it work for you, it has to be part of your day job. I mean, in any other career, you show up to work in the morning and your boss tells you what to do. In real estate, you're your own boss. In mortgages, you're your own boss. But you need to start that day with a list of things that you're going to work on that you know will lead to productivity. And I think it's a lot easier a couple months in once you do get that $1 million lead. And all of a sudden you're like, wow, Instagram kicks ass and I'm going to do this more often. It's harder to get started because you haven't received that reward first. But, you know, talking to you, Erica, and talking to a lot of other agents out there, this stuff does work. And you don't need to wait for the immediate reward in order to start the plan now. So if everyone takes away one thing, it's start planning now, make a plan, and all of a sudden 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, maybe it's a year down the road, your business will be transformed.
Absolutely. And it's not always about the immediate reward either. You're building a brand, and that brand takes time. And for me, it's more about, okay, when I post a picture, I want to make sure that it's a good enough picture to go with my brand, right? I'm not going to post a picture of me at the lake in a bikini with a beer, jumping off the rock, you know, on my business page. Like, sure, maybe I'll post that on Facebook, probably not, but you know, that's not part of the brand.
That's for like your private, to your VIP clients only, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. But I mean, you got to be conscious of what you're putting out there, and that's all reflecting back on you. You know, not saying that you can't be yourself, because of course you want to be yourself, because you want to attract the type of clients who you're going to get along with, and that, you know, you're all going to have an enjoyable experience. But at the same time, you also have to be conscious of, this is a professional business. You are, you know, you need to be respected. You know, be careful what you post. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, I just wanted to say a huge thank you so much for your time today. I know getting a $7.5 million agent on for 20 minutes, especially in the middle of the week, can be tough. But your advice today was awesome, and I hope everyone out there can go out there and pre-order a copy of the Brainy Broker Planner. I think it will change your business. So thanks again for jumping on. And look, anyone that has any questions, reach out to either myself or Erica, and we can chat.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Matt. It was great talking to you.
You too. Bye.
Bye.